Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a reading for Libra. So, Libra, as usual, I'm doing this reading with my own tarot deck, so the cards that you see are from this deck. So, your reading starts in a very not comfortable way, just because I feel like you recognize some sort of pattern coming from somebody that is very well known to you, or the representation of somebody that is very well known to you, and it's always shrouded in mystery. It's always a riddle, is always um, some sort of broken message, or a partial message that you can't quite figure out what this person wants, or what they're trying to tell you, what they're trying to bring forth to you. And they are emphasizing exactly that. It's almost like, what now this time? What is this message this time? What is the partial message that the King of Swords is bringing now, right? So the King of Swords has been this very big presence that whenever it shows up, it wants to be this grand appearance, this grand arrival, this grand message, right? It wants to be the messenger, but in the shape or with the wisdom of the king. So it's still in human shape, it's still in human form. There are still limitations to this wisdom, but still they are approaching with the wisdom nonetheless. However, because I feel like for you, Libra, this is not necessarily you. This is almost like a person that you consider in such high regard, you look up to them, but whenever they approach, it's almost like they never fully bring what you expect, right? It's like either you have asked them questions and they never answer directly. It's almost like they have a way to go around with things that is, it turns out to be a mystery that you end up thinking about that, but you can't quite see the way through with the Two of Swords. So now that this one is here again, it feels like you're tired of hearing but not seeing, right? It's almost like you'd rather have a more direct approach, a more direct answer, than to have a riddle, right? Or another mystery to resolve, or something else that you need to think very thoroughly to about in your mind, right? With your own set of like thoughts or beliefs or understandings. So it's almost like the appearance of this one, Libra, should bring this it's almost like this expected relief. But now, maybe because of the last times, it's almost like you're slowly perceiving a pattern that is emerging coming from this one. So whenever you think of this one, or whenever they call, whenever they text you, whenever they are entering your life again, it's almost like what they bring is something that you cannot perceive clearly. It's almost like their arrival is also bringing this veil, this what is that word? Like a fog, right? They come with the fog. So it leaves you more confused, or with a less clear mind than before. So even though this should feel very nice or very appealing, it's really not, right? But what they're saying here, despite you not wanting them to be here, right? Because it's almost like you're asking them, okay, so what now? What is this message that I'm not going to figure out what it is? What is this new riddle that feels like old news, that, it's just a pattern repeating, that I can figure it out? So the Six of Cups coming next is the remembrance, right? They seem to want you to remember something before the time that you discover this pattern of always finding them approaching with this fog, right? Or this cloudy environment, this cloudy mood, perhaps, because another two is coming next, which is the Two of Wands, which is the opening of a new horizon. So it feels like here there are two very different approaches or interpretations to the arrival of this King of Swords. So this one feels like it's the most recent reaction that you have when you see them now after a few times of recurring doubt or recurring mystery, right? So you'd rather not have to see them again because it means that it comes with all of these unanswered questions. So when you remember what was before all of this pattern has emerged, or at least you seem to have figured this pattern, it's almost like the arrival of this King of Swords used to mean that a new horizon was opening up. So it's almost like you can't remember that. That's the thing. That's the Two of Swords here, and maybe this is what they're pointing at, because whenever I see before the Two of Swords, whenever I try to, see beyond the veil, beyond the fog, that now you almost expect to come with the arrival of this King of Swords, it's like you can't fully remember how radiant is the word that is coming through, how radiant it felt with their arrival, right? Because there is this light of the fire that is opening up your path, opening up your horizon. So how come you can't remember those old days? Maybe the first time that you saw the King of Swords, or when you first sensed the significance of this one, right? Or the significance of this message. And the thing is, you can't remember because I feel like it goes back, like, together with the creation of Earth, right? The world here is talking about the beginning of the world. So it feels so old, so ancient that you couldn't, maybe with your human limitation, Libra, you couldn't possibly, at least not consciously, remember so back before the fog, right? So remember how it was back when you didn't feel caged in. Sometimes I see the world card as a big cage, right? It's like this world is a big cage instead of being, paradise, or however you want to see, like a gift, right? To be here. So, how did it feel? It's almost like you'll have to investigate very deeply within your mind, because it seems like now you are conditioned to always bring about the fog, or expect the fog to come with the King of Swords because of all the mysteries, right? So it's just surrounded by all of these clouds, right, of doubt and uncertainty, perhaps. But I want to say, and they are saying, right, and maybe this is the part that you didn't really want to hear, because it's almost like if you expect them to bring fogginess or cloudiness or like uncertainty to your mind, it's like, why would they bring anything new, right? It's almost like you expect them to bring only old news. But here they are, they're not exactly bringing news, right, or new news, because they're going back to the past, but they want you to remember it. It's like this guidance to a time back when the world began, back when, maybe when you entered this realm, when you I'm reluctant to say when you were born, because it's almost like, it's so rare for us to remember, our memories from when we were born. And that's the thing. It's like, maybe that's the reason why it's hard to really remember, because it was like this one sensation, this once in a lifetime sensation, because it is the first time that you experience Earth. And it's like, it's so widening, it's so opening, it's just like, it It's this horizon that is just, spreading in front of you, right? It's like the entire world. But now it seems like you do feel caged in. So remember, Libra, the time before you felt caged in, right? Where the horizon felt like it was splendid and so big. That's when you first met this King of Swords, which, back then they were represented by the Page of Swords. So I feel like this is either somebody that you have known your entire life, or this is a concept that you have known forever, right? Because it's been with you. And that's the feeling that I have. It's like from the beginning, it's almost like you can't even remember when you first met them because it was so long ago, right? It almost like you have to go back to the beginning of times, right? Or the beginning of the earth or your life on earth, because right now it feels like eons, right? Because it's almost like you have been dealing with the shape of the King of Swords instead of their early stages, but you've known them since then. So it's almost like you've known them also in an earlier stage of development where back then, and we're ending with another two, so there is, it's like a lot of back and forth, right? It's like right now it's almost like you'd rather not have to engage with the King of Swords just because of the pattern, the recent pattern that has developed, but you forgot about how beautiful, how radiant it felt the first time that you met them. Because back then, with the Two of Cups ending this part of the reading, is wanting to be the moment that you fell in love, not just with this one, but also with Earth, with this planet, with this world, with this realm. So it feels like here it's wanting to remind you of a very beautiful moment that you seem to have lost track just because of so much time has passed, right? Between the first time that you met this one and who they are right now. Or it's almost like you've known this version of them for so long now that you can possibly pin the moment that they were just a kid, that they were just innocent, that they didn't have as much wisdom as they claim now, right? Or maybe it's the word that I'm hearing right now is like smart mouth. I don't know exactly what that means, but maybe they're a very well versed person. They're very good with words, right? So that's the reason why maybe whenever they come through, it's like they bring also the riddles because they want to test you. But it's like you're done with the riddles, you're done with the mysteries. But remember, and maybe this is the part that you can figure out. It's like why would they want you to remember them in an earlier stage? But I do feel like it's because it reminds you of your pure heart as well. So there is an intrinsic relationship, right? A very ancient one, it feels like. So why now remember this? And I feel like also it has to do with, it's like the condition of the world, the state of the world, and your presence in it. It's almost like, yes, some time has passed. Both of you are not these young, naive souls anymore. It's like both of you have developed a lot. And it seems like you don't understand, right? It's like there's still like this confusion. My mind is a little bit, it's like a little bit foggy. It's almost like it's hard to locate yourself, right? To it's like to place yourself in a place in a place where you are, it's almost like you don't want to be on the surface, so you'd rather go inside the earth, and that's the reason why it brings you this sensation of being caged in. But why? Why? That is my question. And I feel like this is you asking them. It's like, why now? And I feel like they want you to remember them in an earlier stage because the bottom of the deck is the Fool. And this is how they see you. It's almost like when you met the King of Swords, both of you were exploring, you know, new journeys, let's say. But the way that they saw you as the Fool was from the major arcana realm, whereas you saw them as the page. So even though you look up to this one, and maybe that's the riddle, right? It's like maybe because a long time has passed, it's like you have mistaken this one for being the wise one, and you forgot about your own. It's interesting what I'm hearing is like this foolish wisdom, right? It's like the courage to just leave, the courage to just embark on a journey and go for it, right? But they were the mirrors, right? It's like the twos and the six of cups. It's like this back and forth, this dynamic between the two of you. It feels like it's been going on for centuries, right? Or lifetimes, or so many years that you have forgotten that actually they were the ones looking up to you. They were the ones trusting your movement, your courage to leave. And you have forgotten about that because you have forgotten about how you met them or when you met them. It's like how they were or what they were or the type of person that they were, right? With little knowledge. And that's what made you feel in love, right? Connected, like with this heart resonance, even though you forgot. You forgot about them back then, and you forgot about yourself. And it's almost like that's the reason why they're here because they know that even though you don't want to look at them, right? Because they don't seem to bring clarity anymore in any way, it's like you're going to see through them almost. And through them, you're going to remember yourself, your own freedom. So, the main point of this message actually, it's not remembering them, it's remembering who you were when you fell in love with them, right? When you met them, because there was this resonance, but they were the ones looking up to you, and you have completely forgotten about that part. So that is something that is new, even though the message in itself is not new, right? So, whomever this King of Swords is, it seems like you know them very well. You almost anticipate what they're going to bring to you because it's like, it's again another mystery, but I do feel like it wants to go back all the way to the beginning so that you remember who you were, right? Instead of who they were. Even though that is it's almost like the more you pull on that thread, it's like the more you're going to be taken to that safe haven in a sense, because that was the moment that perhaps you fell in love with the world, right? Because that was the moment that your horizon was expanding in regards to your presence here on earth, because they were there, right? It was almost like, with them, you had no limits, no borders. It's like the world was your oyster, but you forgot that actually the instinct to go and explore wasn't coming from them. And maybe that's what's needed to be reminded here, because you were the one wanting to explore, you were the one wanting to engage in adventures and set out on whatever you were going for, right? It's like you were the leader, Libra, instead of them. What changed? That's my question. It's like it feels like you're taking like the cue, the guidance from this one, right? It seems like it's your like a more passive energy, right? But you were the one with this proactive stance, but you have forgotten about that. So maybe you have to fall in love with yourself, right? But remembering how it felt to meet this one, because it's like that's how you're going to remember your own foolish, wise heart. So, Libra, I'm going to pull more cards to see where this wants to go, and also I'm going to pull from the astrological rooms in the extended reading. So, if you want to join me there, I'll be very happy to see you. You can find link down below. If not, I'll see you next time. Bye.